You're very welcome to the Irish Political Roundup with me, Roisin the Cleric.
And me, Paul Brophy. And today, Roisin, we're joined by Fianna Fáil Councillor for the Callan Thomastown electoral area in the beautiful setting of Kells, County Kilkenny. And this is a very historical place we're in here at the moment, Joe.
It sure is, yeah, sure. I first of all, I'd just like to welcome you to the medieval capital of Kilkenny.
Very good.
Yeah, look, Kells is steeped in history. As you see in the background there, we have 12th century Augustinian Priory.
Wow.
Absolutely beautiful. It's one of the largest and most spectacular, I suppose, monuments in Ireland, I'd have to say. And just up the road, 500 yards up the road, we have the Round Tower, High Cross, and graveyard up in Cllr and the well up there. So it's steeped in history. It's all set along the King's River here.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
And how many, before off air, you were saying you have how many mills between Kells and Callan?
Yeah, there's actually 7 mills between Kells, we'll say, and Innisnag. Okay. So obviously this was thriving back in the years, and we relied largely on the river itself. Yeah, there were 7 mills on it. So between Innisag and Callan, they were very much connected. And they were fantastic, and the river was in great order back at that stage because everybody relied on the river, and it was well stocked and it was always kept clean, and all them mills ran. So thank God we have in Kells here, we have 2 restored mills. We've Mullins' mill down there, which is now the Kells Mill Restaurant, award-winning restaurant. It's doing fantastic. And then just a little further, we had another mill down there, and that has been restored, and people are living that at the moment. So it's lovely to see within the village of Kells, at least 2 of the mills, 2 of the 7 mills are back in use.
And is there any hopes for the other further mills to be restored or lived in or used?
I would think so, but a lot of them are gone into, pretty bad repair. But it would like to see them works being done to stop them from going into any further. Absolutely. But at the moment, not. It would cost, I suppose, a huge amount of money to do it. But look, thank God here in Kells we've 2 in good condition, and they'll remain that way.
And your own business outside politics, we're getting to politics in a minute, but you are a stained glass business. Tell us about that. I'm really intrigued.
Yes, my late dad, he would have formed the business back in the early 80s, I suppose. And I continued that business. So it's a good business. Do a lot of restoration and manufacture of stained glass windows for churches and cathedrals all over the country. So yeah, it's good. It's lovely to see it. I kind of love to see I suppose conserving the old is a big part of what I like doing anyway. So yeah, I like it, and it's lovely. It's lovely to get around the country and meet so many people and see so many old buildings and that, So it's great.
And I love the stained glass windows in churches because, when you talk to people about churches, they always talk about the frequencies, the energies, and vibrations that come from the church, the design of the church windows and the colours of the stained glass.
That's correct, yeah. Oh, sure, look, stained glass, it's endless. It's really endless what you can do with it, Look, we're in Ireland, we have some of the finest stained glass windows, to be honest with you, in the world. Most of the finest work dated back to the early 1900s, and sure, we were blessed to have the likes of Harry Clark, the early family who I actually would have done a lot of training with.
Right.
I mean, they were spectacular artists, unbelievable. But at the time, huge money was spent on stained glass windows and in the churches. Unfortunately, now the same money isn't available to spend on windows. So most of the work we would do now is protecting them and conserving them and restoring the past and making sure that they're there for the future, basically. That would be the main our main work now at the moment.
Well, we've just come from a 12th century church in Callan, talking to one of your Fine Gael County Council's colleagues, and now we are standing in front of an 11th century priory. Am I right?
Yeah, this priory here dates back to 1193. 1193, yeah. So it's pretty spectacular, and thank God work has been done it over years and years by OPW, and they continue to work on it. But it's magnificent. Like for anyone to come down there to look at it, they're always just blown away, and we're quite lucky. There's a kind of a loop walk now within the village, so you can come down go down the Innisag Road, and you can walk by the 2 mills, and then you can walk down along by the King's River over a little footbridge walk through the Priory, and then you can walk all the way up through the field behind me, up through the car park and around. So it's a lovely little walk and a very popular walk, and a lot of people do it, and daily, you know what I mean? Locals do it and visitors alike, you know. So yes, it's remarkable. Look, we take it kind of for granted when you're in Kells. You're looking out at it. I was born just up the road there, just looking down on top of it. I come out every day looking at it, but to be honest with you, when you're looking at it every day, we didn't really take in what was in front of us. But it's spectacular, it really is. You know, and I'd encourage anyone that hasn't been down there to come down and have a look at it, you know.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. It's a nice place to come for a romantic walk or whatever you want.
Yeah.
Are you speaking from experience, Paul?
I am, yeah. But Joe, as you said, the Priory there behind us, it's been here since 1193, and there has been a good bit of investment in the last number of years. I'm sure now that you're on Kilkenny County Council a year next month.
That's right.
What more would you like to see done with the Priory there?
Sure. Look, you'd like to see more money being spent on it and accelerate the rate of, you know, the works that's been done. I'd like to see, like, to be honest with you, the work that's at the moment, there's only a small group of people working on it. So really, you know, a year could pass, and even though it's a lot of work done, but for the size of it, it doesn't seem significant, you know. So you'd love if there was a huge investment of money put into it, because without doubt, it is one of the most, if not the most spectacular, you know, monuments of its kind in the country. You know, and like with the amount of tourists that come to Kilkenny, you know, they're going to Kilkenny Castle and all these kind of places. But I think we need to start. I think one of the things is people come to Kilkenny Castle, they do the trip, they get back on their bus, and they're gone. We need to keep them in Kilkenny, because when you keep them in Kilkenny, that is where they spend the money. They'll spend it on accommodation, they'll spend it on food, you know, into restaurants. That's what you got to do.
And building a local economy.
Building a local economy, and that's what we need to do. So I think, like, if the likes of an investment went into some of these places, and not just here in Kells, but, you know, in Callan and these other areas, well, then people might be more encouraged maybe to stay in Kilkenny for that bit longer and maybe explore different things outside of Kilkenny City. And I think that needs to be done. Now, at the moment, the community of Kells have come together, and we've purchased 3 acres of land within the village, which is fantastic, because we've a fantastic village here, but we're lacking infrastructure. And so we have the likes of the Kells creche down there, which it's full to capacity. In actual fact, at the moment, they're using a spare room in the school. We have a huge scout group, you know, but we don't have a hub for the community to cater for them all. So we've purchased 3 acres of ground, and the idea is, we kind of set out a questionnaire in a survey years ago, probably 15 years ago, and we wanted people to outline the main priorities and the needs for the area. And a lot of it came to, like, parking, play area for kids, a hall, place for active retirement people, all that kind of stuff. So this kind of fits the bill for everyone, and that's what we're developing. So at the moment, we've engaged with second year students down in Waterford, and they've done lots of drawings and give us loads of ideas. So
that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, and their involvement with them has been brilliant. And a friend of mine who's down in the Stag, Gordon Chisholm, he's a lecturer down there, and he's been absolutely fantastic. And Gordon brought the whole team together, came up and visited, and they came up with some brilliant ideas. And so hopefully that's our plan for the village over the next coming years, to bring the village together and build this community hub that'll cater for the entire community.
And how do you hope to finance that, Joe? Will it be a combination of government grants and fundraising to get this project over the line?
It would be. Now, fortunately, what happened going back maybe around 12 years ago, when we first put it out there to people what they wanted, we actually run fundraising events at that stage. So at that time, we raised 58,000.
Very good.
Which was, and that was great money. So at least when this land came up for sale, we had that sort of money to put into it. But yes, we are fundraising the whole time. We've had a couple of, or maybe around 2 months ago, we had out in Castle Lynch venue, we had a boxing night where we had 32 boxers.
CJ Delaney helped organise it.
CJ was fantastic, done huge work. 32 fighters, and that raised like 14,000. It was huge money. Tomorrow in Kells we have the Street Fest. You know, it's kind of a carnival event, and so look, there's a fundraising committee founded now, and they are, you know, they're putting their shoulders to the wheel and come up with new ideas. But it's going to take a huge amount of fundraising. It will take a huge amount of grants. But as I always said, the best times we ever had in Kells were fundraising events, because it makes people think outside the box, and you know, you have some very memorable occasions through fundraising.
And it brings people together, it brings community together, brings people together to build the community.
It does, yeah, it does. And look, people can see the need for the end result, and that's why it's actually no bother getting people to dig in, because it's for the future of the villages. It's their children's children and so forth. And like with that, like we've also engaged with the OPW in connection, because we're very conscious of what we have around the area, as in, you know, historically. So we're hoping within that hub to interpretive centre in that hub.
That'd be amazing.
You know, public toilets, you know, and that kind of stuff. So it's not just for it, mainly it's for the people of the community, but it also cater for visitors alike coming.
Or anybody coming out for a romantic walk.
Absolutely.
You might need to go to the restroom.
Absolutely. And as regards the site, is it far from where we are currently at the minute, Joe? Or
it's not. No, the site is just at the back of Kells Handball Club.
Okay.
So Kells Handball Club, again, is a very successful club. They've won.
You've been involved with for many years.
I haven't been involved in Handball Club for I don't know, 40 years now. Over the last few years, I've just done a little bit of coaching, but it's fantastic. And even this year, the Function brothers, they won the senior doubles All Ireland, which was the first time it was won since Duxie Welsh and DJ Carey won it 25 years ago. Amazing. And they've also won the under 16, under 21 All Ireland. So it's brilliant, and it's going really well. And they're also fundraising down there to renovate the second alley. So one fabulous glass alley, and the other one is a concrete back wall, and that's been restored as well at the moment. But again, the car parking at the back will also complement the handball alley, because it's all in that one area. Yeah,
brilliant. And as you said earlier on in the interview, you're on the county council exactly 12 months next month. What have been the big issues that have been coming up here in Kells and the rest of your locality that you represent? I imagine housing is a big issue.
Housing is a big issue. I suppose one of the big problems we have here, I mean, from Knocktover, Stoneyford, Dunnamagan, Danesfort, Kells, is housing. The big problem is water. Our water treatment plants, fresh water connections, it's all, you know, it's Ishke. Now, unfortunately, look, we need, personally, I think we need to put more money into Ishke, and we just have to get the infrastructure, because if you don't get these services, well, then you can't build. So currently here around this area, you will not get a connection for a new house. You have to bore a well. So there is certain areas that's zoned residential, you know, and we would have extra housing being built, but it's not going to be built, and it won't be built until we do get these upgrades. And unfortunately, like Sabinus Bridge, before that wastewater treatment plants, you're talking about 2029. So it's very frustrating, extremely frustrating. And if you take the likes of like anywhere, you know, Stoneyford, as I say, Kells, all these places have areas there to build on, and we need the houses, and we need the houses in the villages to breathe new life into villages. And I think that's very, very important. It's very important for our local areas to breathe more life into it, and maybe, you know, thank God there's a lot of the vacant buildings being done up at the moment, which is brilliant. But you know, we need
and not only that, people want to come back home. They go to college, they go to university, they go away to work for a couple of years. But when they want to settle down and have children, they want to come back to their own communities where they have family and where they feel part of the community. From the soccer to the hurling, the camogie, the handball, you know, that's all part of that community. And we gone away from the community family values sense in the last couple of years, and now people want to come back to that?
Yeah, I think people do. I think if you're born in the country, I think myself, it's hard to settle in a city or a town. You always like to come back to it again. It is a different feel, you know. And you go out, or even like tomorrow, there's great community spirit because everybody knows each other. You know, it's like one big kind of a family, and everybody gets together. But having said that, you do need new people coming in as well. You know what I mean? You do need to freshen things up a bit. So, and I'm not talking about massive developments in these villages, but I'm just talking about maybe an additional, maybe, you know, 15 or 20 houses or something like that. Which it's good for the schools, it's good for the businesses, it's good for everything around it. So that would be probably the big issue. Then I suppose roads is the big thing. Speed in the roads, pedestrian safety. But thank God there has been a lot done on that lately as well. You know, there's a lot of safety measures after being put in place over the last number of years, which is great. Obviously, you get a bit of backlash from it as well. You know, you do something, you make it safer for pedestrian, then somebody using the road is giving out, you know. But look, you know, you can't win. But I think at the end of the day, I think safety on the roads is the most important. Absolutely. And look, with the new laws going in again, the speed is going to be reduced on the roads again, and you know, it's no harm, especially in urban areas. You know, it can be very, very dangerous. You know.
How is the local economy in the village of Kells, and do you think that the government could do more to help build the local economies in rural Ireland?
I do, yeah. Personally, I'd love to see. I would like to see maybe, like, if you take this area, Kells, for instance, most of the people travel into Kilkenny to work the whole time. So all of the industrial commercial units are in Kilkenny. Personally, I'd love to see maybe areas within the villages, maybe with some commercial units, you know, nicely done commercial units, and maybe creating more local jobs. I think that'd be a good thing, keep people local. And even for the point of view of maybe getting people out of their cars and walking, and maybe stopping all this driving here and driving there everywhere. So I think if you create more jobs within the local area, I think that would be a good thing. Now, look, it's not a simple, easy fix either. I know it's not. But it would be nice. Like, you see some villages are flying it as a result. You go up to, like, say, Bagnallstown, place like that, you have industrial units there, you know, and as a result, the town is doing a lot better from it, you know. But
and buying local and shopping local, and we've been talking to every county councillor and for the last year about shopping local, buying local, and you know, creating those local jobs, that local employment and the local economy. But most of all too, it's like creating local jobs for students, for mothers, and giving mothers that flexibility of working time. But also, I don't know, you might remember, you might not, the guaranteed Irish in the 80s. Should we go back to the guaranteed Irish, getting people to buy local, shop local, and buy Irish?
Yeah, I would. I think we're really fortunate here in Kells because we have Bob's shop down there, and it's a great shop. You know? Bob's, for the size of the shop, he's everything, you know. And if he doesn't have it, if you said to Bob, "Do you have such a thing?" he'll have it the next day.
A bit like what is it, Councillor from Tullow? Labour Party. Willie Patton.
Willie Patton, sorry. Put me on the spot there.
It's just the same with Councillor Willie Patton. They had a shop and it closed down. I think
Duffy's,
Joe Duffy's closed down. So Bob's is like that. He has everything.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And like, Bob gives great employment. So many young people, you know, that are down Bob's, you know, they're 16, 17, 8 years of age. And there's so many people that work in the shop. And it's great for them. It's great for the parents to have a job there. And it's brilliant.
Yeah. And it teaches them work ethic.
It does. Now, it's a good shop and it is busy. There's no doubt about it, you know. But it's great. Now, in Stonyford, we've learned there in the last number of weeks that Willie Welsh, who has the shop there for the last 35 years in Stonyford, and it's brilliant. But Willie, unfortunately, Willie is going to retire from the business. So hopefully, we're hoping, if there's anyone out there, that they'll, you know, take it on and keep the shop in the village, because I think it's vital. Even if it's the smallest thing of somebody going down and getting a newspaper or milk or something like that, it's vital. You know, it is vital.
Yeah, it's a local community.
It's a community hub.
It is, and even for some elderly people, they might go down to get paper, but it's an opportunity for them to meet somebody or have a chat,
Yeah.
but it's a place for them to go. So a shop is more than just some place, I think, to buy something.
And
you know?
in rural areas where post offices have unfortunately closed, they've been lucky that the local shops have taken on the post office element, so that you're creating, you know, a place to do not just get your bread and your milk, but you can use postal service as well. So having those type of hubs, they're really important from a local employment point of view, but also from a community standpoint as well.
There, of course, yeah. And Bob covers that as well.
Yeah.
You have to pop into Bob.
Absolutely. And you also, there's another famous landmark in Kells. It's called Shirley's. For our viewers out there, it was used for the Riordans back in the day. And I believe, was it ITV came over here to see how they filmed the Riordans when Emmerdale Farm was being conceived. The idea of it was being conceived. You bought that a couple of years back. Are you any close to getting it open?
I wish I was. Oh my God! I tell you, that question is asked so often. It is. I'm working on it the whole time. Every day is a day closer. I tell everyone. People say when you open, I say I'll be open for Christmas. I didn't say which Christmas, but I will have it open for Christmas. No, it's going well. It is going well. I'd like to be getting a lot more done on it, but look, I'm just so busy at the moment between one thing and another. But there is work going on the whole time, and I will get it up and going. It was a great old pub. I worked in myself when I was younger. And the Riordans, obviously, some of the Riordans was filmed there. And Wesley Burrows, who wrote the Riordans and Bracken and all these programs. Well,
Bracken, that was a Scottish thing, wasn't it?
And Glenroe, Well, Wesley Burrows only lived up the road here. He only lived. You can actually see the house from here, and he just lived up there. And he used to come down, and he used to actually drink in Shirley's, and he used to go in. And of course, the Riordans was a lot to do with the mart and the farm life and that. But so Wesley used to come into Shirley's, sit up in the stool and have a drink, and he had his notebook, and he'd be listening to all the boys coming in from the mart, and then he'd be hearing about how much cattle were making and sheep was making and talking about the farm, and he used to be taking these notes. And a lot of the stories were based from the Riordans, came from the local community and the farmers around here. So it's a great story, and I have some lovely photographs of the Riordans and some of the recording now in Shirley's and that, which I'll certainly put it back up for people to see.
That'd be amazing.
That's interesting.
I never knew that.
Yeah,
I learned something new.
Every day's a school day.
And what other issues are coming up locally? We know housing, we know the water. The water crisis is really, and we only realised this year that it was the water crisis was holding up the housing crisis, and that was kept for like a little secret for many years. That was the issue. Any other issues that's not being talked about is you're hearing?
Locally here, let me see. Look, you know, some of the issues that I spoke about before was like school transport is one. We have another small issue with illegal dumping. You know, this is like only on this Thursday. You know, somebody came out Kells, and they basically threw 6 sacks of rubbish just over a hedge, just on the Newtown Road, just dumped it. Now, thank God, I contacted Kilkenny County Council, and in fairness, that day, within, I'd say, an hour and a half, to come out, and they took the rubbish away. And they're filtering through the stuff, and I believe there is stuff in the bag that they'll know who dumped it, you know. So hopefully they'll be prosecuted. But that can be an issue, and it's a shame, really, because like we have a great tidy towns group here, and they're going around picking up rubbish. You know, every Thursday evening they're out picking it. And then you have somebody coming out and they're just dumping the rubbish over a hedge. You know, so they're only small things, but they're big things as well.
Absolutely,
you know, in a village. You know,
and the transport.
The transport. Look, we do have the transport, and it's great, and it's been used. And the longer it goes on, the more people are using it, which is fantastic, you know. The school transport, as I said, is an issue. Like the thing about it, school transport is a child will get transport to their most local school, but outside of that, you're not guaranteed it. So that is an issue. I'm getting it, you know, you get that in the neck the whole time. It is a very tough time, I suppose, from now until September. It's constant. But as a councillor, there's not a huge. All you can do is ask onto every politician, ministers, CDs, senators, and everything. But it's just not.
What is the issue that there isn't sufficient transport?
It is, but Roisin,
what is the issue that's causing?
You see, I suppose the big problem, if you're living in, we'll say Kells here, right, a lot of people in Kells, a lot of the kids would go to school in Kilkenny. So Kilkenny is just 10 minutes away. Callan is 10 minutes away. Ballyhale is the guts of 10, maybe 50 minutes ago.
Okay.
But I suppose as the crow flies, Ballyhale would be close to school, for instance, or Callan. So, for instance, last year Callan is full up. It's up to capacity. So you could register your boy or girl to go to Callan school, but they can't get a place in Callan school. Okay, so they might go to Kilkenny, but because they're close to school as Callan, they're not guaranteed a bus. Do you understand? So sometimes it can be a little unfair on them people that they can't get the closest school and yet they fail to get a school bus. I can totally understand you can't provide buses for people to go to whatever school they like to get, because otherwise you'd have buses crossing each other at every crossroad and you just have too much. You just couldn't do it.
Is there public transport, say, in time that goes through Kells or Stonyford or Kells or your electoral area? If you're, say, for Kells, would there be a public transport that would go from here in time into Kilkenny in time for the school?
There is. It goes early in the morning. So the first bus would come into Kells. It comes from, we'll say, the Kilmagany directions, the Kilmagany, Donegal, Kells, and not the Stonyford. So we'll be coming here at around 10 to 8 in the morning. So that could pick up kids and bring them into school. It could. It's just return and leaving the times don't suit, you know. So
could there be a public bus put on specifically for the school run? Yeah,
well, I looked for that last year, because between Kells, Stonyford and Danesfort last year, it's hard to believe, but I had 34 names last year for the school bus. Wow. 34 names that want a school bus. Now, however, you might have 34 names, they may not use the bus every day, right? But some of them would. But that's a huge amount of people. It is a huge amount of people.
Because you would also not only get the school children, you'd also get other people using the transport.
You would.
I remember in Kilkenny City, when the buses came out, nobody was using them to begin with. Now you've got people queuing up, waiting for the buses. So if there was a public transport that had a timetable to suit around the school timetable, that would be an awful help.
It would. And look, we have the bus now.
You have the bus.
The bus is there. The 891 bus is there, and it is in place, and it goes through Kells, return trip, 5 trips a day.
Right.
So it is fantastic. The only thing is, it's designed for connecting Ireland. It's not a school bus. You know, it's not designed for school. It's designed for you. So look, maybe, fingers crossed.
Who would be in charge of that?
Well, that is Transport for Ireland. And
who's over Transport Ireland?
Okay, so what you have in Kilkenny, over the Carlow, Kilkenny, Wicklow area, there's a transport coordination unit, and it's run out of Kilkenny. You know, the Kilkenny Mart site there?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's there. So the guys in there, look, they've been really good. I've been engaging with them for a long time, and they're really good, and they understand that as well. But it's not, you know, they'd like to sort this out as well.
How could they work with you to solve this problem?
I have been talking to them for quite a while now, and really it's Transport Ireland is the big one. And, you know, they're not, just put it mildly, they're not the quickest to kind of to change their mind on matters. They'd rather see this roll out for a while and see how it's going, how it's operating, and possibly then maybe make a change afterwards. But it's largely designed around getting buses to a stop. So it might be to get people to the green bus in Kilkenny, to bring them on to Dublin, even though the green bus could be 40 minutes late. But the idea is to get the green bus or the Kilkenny train station. So then the end of the journey is Kilkenny train station. So you can get the bus from wherever, Tullahocht, and you can get the bus, and that'll bring you in, and it'll get you on a train if you want to go to Dublin. You know, and that is the idea. So I can understand you can't design something that's going to suit everyone. You know what I mean? But maybe it could be a bit better.
But there is a need for it. So who could influence Transport Ireland then? Who's the person that could influence their decision making? Who are the decision makers?
The decision makers, I suppose. Look, I mean, who can influence it? politicians can. Obviously, you know, they can put the pressure on. You know, I mean,
so we have Deputy Chap Cllr, we have Deputy
We
Catherine
do.
Callahan, we have Deputy Natasha Newson, and so there's 3 politicians.
there is, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I've spoke to most of them about this.
Yeah.
I've spoke to a lot of them about this, and look, they all see that maybe this could be. But look, I'm not complaining. This is a great start. It's fantastic. It is really, really fantastic, and we're delighted with it. And look, give it time; it will improve. And but people are using it, and it's great now for the summer because for kids working in Kilkenny for the it's fantastic. They're
They
in
can
and out
get in and
continuously.
out. There's student jobs. It keeps them going all the way through the academic year and through the summer.
Fantastic, yeah. And people now, I see it now, like last Sunday now for the match, Kilkenny match inside. Loads of people went in and out, and they can go in and they can have a few old drinks and have a bit of grub, and they can get the bus home in the night, which is fantastic.
I believe you can get in and out for like €3.
Yeah, sure.
Like
Yeah. It's great. Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah. It's fantastic, yeah, and it connects the villages as well. It's not it's all about going to Kilkenny.
No.
You know, like if you want to go up to Tullahochter, you want to go to Carrick-to-Shore, you know, you can go on that route as well. So,
What number's your bus?
891.
And where does that leave from in Kilkenny City?
It leaves from just on the opposite, you know, on the Callan Road, where the Blue Bar is.
Yes.
Yeah. Just there's a bus
Ormond
stop
Street.
just Ormond Street, just up from the Blue Bar, and they're up there. I think the Blue Bar is doing quite well over there.
So you can, if anybody wants to go to the villages in County Kilkenny, Kells and the other villages you mentioned, they just get on that bus.
They get on that bus, and if they go on the Transport for Ireland site, the timetable's on that.
And that'd be good for tourists as well.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's brilliant, yeah. And they're starting to use it, but it's like the bus service in Kilkenny. And like I have to say, at the very beginning, I thought, oh, bloody hell, what's this costing the amount of people are using it? But you're right. There's a lot of people using it now. You know, it's not a matter of just people. It's a change from what they're used to. So it's great.
And if say, someone has free travel, that's accepted on...
Absolute free travel, yeah, free travel.
That's great. But for the older people,
absolutely, yeah.
What age can you get free travel at?
Sure, it's
65, is it?
66, is it?
66, 65.
I have to wait another 25 years. Wishful thinking.
Well, I'm telling my children now, they don't seem to accept. I'm 58 and I go, I can park in the older people's parking spaces now. And they go, no, you cannot, Mum, and they're too young for that.
Yeah.
It's great where you can get older and you can start enjoying the aging process and just enjoy them little bits of freebies like €3 and free travel, public transport is great for the people who've worked really hard all their lives and getting back and being able to travel around the island.
It is, and it gives them a bit of independence as well. You know what I mean? That you're not relying on somebody collecting you or bringing it in. When you're able to go out yourself and make your way around the place, it's brilliant.
It is absolutely brilliant. It's a great way of tackling isolation as well, having access to free travel. And Joe, as I said, you've been on the council about...
There's the bus now, guys.
There you go. There you go. So there it is.
You know what they say when you're talking about somebody, they hear you.
That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The 3A1, which has been a big success. So, and I know we take the bus service. That was something you were very active on when you were a community activist, and you still are a community activist. Would you say, if you were to look back on the last year on the council, would you say that bus service being up and running would probably be the one thing you say, yeah, I'm very proud of that?
Yeah, I think that has been a game changer to the local area. There's no doubt about it, you know. But look, I'd only a small part. You know, I've been talking to Jackie, Neely and Barry for going back a couple of years ago on it, but they're the ones that, you know, brought it. I didn't, you know what I mean? I encouraged as much as I could and did whatever I could on it. But that was great to get that, you know, there's no doubt about it. Look, sure, as a councillor, you'd love to be getting more stuff done. But look, you know, there's only so much in the pot. So you know, you're trying to get the best value for money, you know what I mean? But look, as I said before, we're lucky with the people in the council. They're great and easy to work with.
Not everybody says that, don't they? But the county councillors. And it's a great privilege and honour to represent your local people.
It is. Yeah, it is a privilege. There's no doubt about it. And you know, it is. You're honoured, and you take it serious as well, because I suppose as a councillor, you're there to, I suppose, listen to people, engage with them, and represent them, and you know, fight for what they need within reason, you know what I mean? And I think that's important. And for me, I'm probably more, I don't know, when I go to meetings, I mightn't say a whole lot, but you have to listen. I think that's more important than anything else, you know, and wherever it is, you know, in all the different villages around, because you can't be just seen to be doing stuff in your own neck of the woods, you know, you have to go outside of that area. But it is great. A lot of learning to do, a lot more learning to do as well, because it can be a challenge, you know, it can be a challenge. But as I said, and I've been lucky then as well, because likes of, you know, Matt Dorn, who was there before. Matt has been a great help to me. You know, if I was ever stuck or need something, I could pick up the phone and give him a ring. You know, Cllr now has his new office inside in Patrick Street.
Matt Dorn is working with him as well.
And Matt is working with him as well. So, and like, there's 2 other girls in there. It's an incredibly busy office now, I have to say, but you need that around you as well. You know what I mean? You certainly do. A lot of the stuff you deal with yourself, but there's a lot of stuff you just need help with.
Oh yeah, there would be things that come across your desk that you do need to bring to a higher level.
And also, as a county councillor, you are the eyes and ears for the TDs of what's going on locally. And you, as you said earlier on, that you listening is a big part of your job. That you listen to what the people, ordinary people, are saying, and you can transfer that information back to your TD. So that's very, very important.
It is. It's crucial. And look, they're relying on us as well as we're relying on them. You know what I mean? It is a team, really, work at, you know, you can't do this in isolation. So largely they do depend on see what's happening on the ground. And then, like, obviously there's better representation when you go to the likes of the TDs or ministers, you know. Look, as councillor, I always say you're limited what you can do, but it does give you opportunities to talk to people in the right places, you know.
And your grassroots. And all politics starts at local and ends at local. And that's what's important, is bringing politics back to the local communities, listening to the voice of the local people and taking that back to the TDs, the senators, and to Leinster House, and to the powers, the people who have the powers and the decision makers.
Yeah, no, agree. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's very important.
And we were talking to Councillor Joe Lyons there earlier on today, and he was talking about with the Callan Municipal District meetings. He finds them very, very helpful and useful. If those municipal districts were funded better, do you think you could do a lot more than what you're doing at the moment? Yeah, definitely, without doubt. We are blessed. Our engineer there, Declan Murphy, is just top class. Yeah. And there's no doubt about it. Declan gets best value for money. There's no question about it. Yeah. But it's constantly, you're working around the budget. You're constantly working around the budget. Yeah, 100%. We do need more money. You'd have a discretionary budget for the area, but it's very small. But it's small. It is extremely small. What we have is pittance, to be honest with you. We do need more. Yeah, I would love to see a lot more money going into the municipal district. You know, I think it would make a vast difference, because I think it's the people on the ground that know exactly how to best spend to get the value for money. Yeah. I think for me, I find it frustrating when you see some projects and there's millions being spent on it for what they're getting. And for us in local areas, you know, what you can do for a small amount of money, you're really getting value for money. You know what I mean? Exactly. So it would be great if the municipal districts got more money. And I think every councillor would agree with that, you know, that's what's needed, 100%, yeah. You've asked all the other county councillors this question, going back to Irish water. Uisce Éireann, am I pronouncing that right? Uisce Éireann. I couldn't pronounce it at the beginning of all this. Uisce Éireann, do you think it should, the water infrastructure should come back to local authorities, or do you think should Uisce Éireann be given more benefit of the doubt and see what they can do? Well, yeah, I think, unfortunately, I don't think it has improved since it had separated from the council. I think we're probably going a step backwards, which is a pity. And I think the way we're going at the moment, we can't see any major changes, and won't be for the next number of years. So I think there's just going to have to be a huge investment put into it, and hopefully it'll change. You don't sound too optimistic. No, not at the moment. I'm not, and it's quite frustrating, to be honest with you. It was really, really frustrating, and like, this has affected villages everywhere. You know, in a Steeg, down as far as in a Steeg, right the way up. Pipes. It was
Deputy Ken O'Flynn was telling us on the programme that it was actually, I didn't realise this, that the pipes here in Ireland are 100 years old.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I mean, going back to 2018, I think 2018, you know, we're losing 48% of our water,
Yeah.
Wow.
you know, our treated water. And like, we're looking at now trying to get that down to 25%. Like,
It's crazy.
it's ridiculous, really, the amount of water that we're losing, you know. And I suppose, really, and I know there was a lot of debate, and you know, this is the slowest thing any politician would talk about, about water charges, you know. But funny enough, when water charges started to come in place, people started realising, I better fix that tap. It's leaking, because I end up paying for it, you know.
And even the toilet system, putting the tissue, the toilet paper, a piece of paper in the system to see if it was leaking. Mine was.
I know, but this is the issue, that we are losing water. But if people have everything for free, and I'm not saying for 1 minute that you start charging heavily, but I think every house, my belief is every house should have a certain amount of water, give you a generous amount for the year for free. But anything outside of that, if there was a fee on that, I think people would wake up then and they think, you know, I have a leak here, I better fix it.
And report leaks, there could be a leak somewhere. Okay, this is coming from my house, but I'm not using that. And then let's investigate to see if there's a leak in the pipes outside.
Absolutely. I'll give you one example. I was at a house this week, right? Okay. I'm not going to name where it was. It's not Kells, it's just outside it. But I went in and I looked at the house, and there was water freely pouring in the house. And I was told the water was pouring there for the last 2 years at least. 2 years with water leaking. Now, if water is freely leaking out of a household, that's probably the capacity of, you know, maybe 8 or 9 houses if they wanted to get in the water service. But this is in isolation, that one house I looked at. Now, thank God it's fixed now, but this is happening all over the place. So I think, really, you know, I don't think they're proactive enough going out and sorting, you know, these leaks that we have. You know, it's all about new treatment plants, which we do need, but I do think we have to be a little bit more focused on fixing a lot of these leaks that we have as well.
Because you just can't go out keep building unless you fix what is broken.
And it costs a lot of money to treat this water in the first place.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, this water that we're losing is treated water. You know, it's pity.
Well, Councillor Joe Sheridan, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the Irish Political Roundup with Paul and myself today in this beautiful, historic, medieval village of Kells.
Thank you very much, Roisin.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Paul.
Appreciate you coming on the show.
All. Thanks a million.
And let's just stand back and just show our viewers the beautiful, have I got that in, Paul? The beautiful Priory of Kells.